The world is noisy, chaotic, filled with endless distractions, temptations, and fears. We scroll through screens, chase after desires, and drown in worries that never end.
Yet, in the middle of this storm, there exists a philosophy that whispers of peace.
It is called Stoicism. Chu Nia Kok Kai. A way of living that teaches us not how to escape life, but how to face it with courage. Imagine a Roman soldier, standing tall as the empire crumbles around him. He does not panic. He does not despair. He breathes, he accepts, he endures.
That is the spirit of Stoicism.
But Stoicism is not just ancient history. It is not locked in dusty books or forgotten ruins. It is alive. It breathes in our modern world. Every time you resist anger, every time you choose calm over chaos, you practice Stoicism.
And yet, most of us have forgotten this wisdom.
We chase happiness in possessions, in status, in fleeting pleasures. But Stoicism tells us, happiness is not found in what we own, but in how we think. It is a philosophy of the mind, a discipline of the soul. Let us begin this journey together. We will explore the roots of Stoicism, its heroes, its lessons, and its power to transform ordinary lives.
Because philosophy is not just for scholars.
It is for everyone. Try it hoc pho thon. Philosophy for the people. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who ruled Rome yet wrote in his journal like a humble student of life. He reminded himself daily, control your mind, accept fate, act with virtue.
His empire fell, but his words still stand.
Or Epictetus, born a slave, beaten, humiliated, yet rising to become a teacher of kings. He taught, you may not control the world, but you control your response to it. This is the essence of Stoicism. It is not about suppressing emotions, but about mastering them. Not about denying pain, but about transforming it into strength.
Stoicism is a shield,
A sword, a compass. It guides us through suffering, through loss, through the inevitable storms of life. And it does so with simplicity. Control what you can. Accept what you cannot. Focus on virtue. 3 pillars. 3 truths. But why does this matter today? Because our world is drowning in anxiety, depression, and endless dissatisfaction. We have more wealth than ever, yet less peace. We have more technology, yet less wisdom.
Stoicism is the antidote.
It reminds us that peace is not given by the world. It is built within. It tells us that freedom is not about doing whatever we want, but about wanting only what is right. This is philosophy made practical. Philosophy that belongs not in ivory towers, but in kitchens, offices, and streets.
Philosophy that belongs to you.
So, as we begin part 1 of this journey, let us open our minds. Let us listen not just with our ears, but with our hearts. Because Stoicism is not just knowledge. It is transformation. And transformation begins here.
Welcome to Chu Nia Kok Kai and Try It Hoc Pho Thon. Picture this, you're 6 feet underground in a bamboo cage, your legs are shattered from repeated beatings, and you haven't heard a single word of English in 18 months.
This was not a hypothetical for U.S. Navy Vice Admiral James Stockdale, the highest-ranking American prisoner of war held in the infamous Hanoi Hilton during the Vietnam War. Guards beat him weekly, withheld medical care for his shattered hip, and forced him to stand for hours at a time with his arms tied above his head until he passed out from pain.
Most men in that cage broke.
They signed false confessions, betrayed their fellow prisoners, or simply gave up and died. But Stockdale didn't just survive. He turned his 7 years of captivity into a masterclass in the core Stoic teaching he'd studied for decades, the dichotomy of control. This rule is deceptively simple. There are only two categories of things in your life: things you control, and things you don't. You control your thoughts, your actions, your values, and how you treat other people. You do not control the weather, the actions of your boss, whether your partner loves you back, or if the stock market crashes tomorrow. When Stockdale was first shot down over North Vietnam, his first thought wasn't fear. It was a line from Epictetus, the former slave-turned-Stoic philosopher who taught that no external force can take your freedom unless you let it.
The guards tortured him for weeks to get him to sign a statement condemning U.S.
involvement in the war. They broke 3 of his ribs, crushed his shoulder, and left him bleeding on the concrete floor of his cell for hours at a time. Every time they demanded a confession, Stockdale repeated the same line to himself, over and over, until the pain faded into the background of his mind: "This is within my control. This is not within my control.
This is within my control." He watched 11 of his fellow prisoners die in that cage, men who gave up because they couldn't let go of the anger at their captors, the grief for the families they'd left behind, the fear that no one would ever know what happened to them.
Stockdale realized the only thing those men ever truly lost was their own choice to refuse to let their circumstances break them. Stoicism never asks you to pretend you don't feel pain. It asks you to stop letting that pain dictate every choice you make for the rest of your life. That's the difference between the men who died in the Hanoi Hilton and the ones who walked out free. It wasn't their bodies that held up under torture. It was their minds. You don't have to be a prisoner of war to practice this rule. Think about the last time you stayed up until 3 a.m. replaying a rude comment a coworker left on your project, or spiraling over a flight delay that made you miss your kid's birthday party. You're wasting energy on things you can't change, and ignoring the only thing you actually have power over: how you respond. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This single line became a shield for countless souls who faced chaos.
Imagine a Roman general, standing on the battlefield, watching his soldiers fall one by one.
He cannot control the arrows, the swords, the cruelty of war. But he can control his own fear. That is the essence of Stoicism. Seneca, the great Stoic thinker, told a story of a man who lost everything in a fire.
His home, his wealth, his memories, all turned to ash.
The man stood silently, watching the flames consume his past. And then he whispered, "I still have myself." This is not resignation. It is defiance. The Stoics believed that fortune could strip away everything, but never the dignity of the soul. Epictetus, born a slave, taught that freedom is not given by masters or kings. Freedom lives in the mind.
Even with chains around his wrists, he declared, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This radical idea shook the foundations of society.
Because it meant that emperors could rule nations, but not the inner world of a Stoic. Let us pause here. Think of your own life. The job you might lose. The relationship that might end. The illness that might strike.
All of these are arrows flying toward you.
You cannot stop them. But you can decide how to stand when they arrive. That is the Stoic armor. One of the most dramatic examples comes from Cato the Younger. He was a politician in Rome, famous for his incorruptible character. When Julius Caesar rose to power, Cato refused to bow.
Surrounded, defeated, with no escape, he chose death over surrender.
His final act was not despair, it was a declaration. That the soul remains sovereign, even when the body falls. This is why Stoicism has survived for centuries. Because it speaks to the deepest fear of humanity, the fear of losing control. And it answers with courage. Now, let us bring this into modern life. A young woman loses her job. She feels the weight of failure pressing down.
She remembers the words of Epictetus, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it." Instead of despair, she chooses resilience.
She studies, she adapts, she grows stronger. Her misfortune becomes her teacher. This is philosophy made practical. Not locked in dusty books, but alive in daily struggles. The Stoics remind us, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
You can be broken by life, or you can be remade by it.
The choice is yours. And that is the heartbeat of Stoicism. It is not about suppressing emotions. It is about mastering them. It is not about denying pain. It is about transforming it. It is not about rejecting the world. It is about standing firm within it. So when storms come, and they will, remember Marcus Aurelius.
You have power over your mind, not outside events. That single truth can turn chaos into clarity, fear into strength, and despair into hope. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once walked alone through the corridors of his palace, surrounded by marble and silence. He was the most powerful man in the world, yet his journal reveals a man constantly reminding himself of humility, of mortality, of the fleeting nature of glory. He wrote not for the empire, but for himself, whispering truths into the pages of his meditations. Imagine the weight of ruling millions, yet still fearing the corruption of your own soul more than the collapse of armies.
Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, lived in a world of political intrigue under Emperor Nero. He was wealthy, influential, and constantly accused of hypocrisy. Yet his letters to Lucilius reveal a man wrestling with contradictions. He urged simplicity, yet owned estates. He preached detachment, yet feared death.
His life ended by forced suicide, a blade against his veins, a final test of whether his philosophy could withstand the cruelty of fate.
Epictetus, born a slave, limped through life with a broken body but an unbreakable spirit. He taught that freedom was not granted by masters or emperors, but by the discipline of the mind. His students came from noble families, yet they sat at the feet of a man who had once been property.
He declared, "You may chain my leg, but not my will. These stories are not distant relics.
They are mirrors. They show us that philosophy is not abstract theory, but blood, sweat, and tears lived in real lives. Marcus Aurelius fought wars while writing about kindness. Seneca navigated corruption while urging virtue. Epictetus endured slavery while teaching freedom.
Philosophy was not their escape.
It was their weapon. Consider the modern case of Admiral James Stockdale, an American pilot shot down during the Vietnam War. He was imprisoned for 7 years, tortured, isolated, starved. Yet he survived by clinging to Stoic principles. He refused to be broken. He reminded himself daily that pain was inevitable, but suffering was optional.
In the darkness of his cell, he realized that freedom was not outside those walls, but inside his mind.
This is the essence of Stoicism and popular philosophy. The battlefield is not the world, but the soul. The enemy is not fate, but fear. The victory is not wealth or power, but peace. Let us pause on a simple story. A man loses his job. He feels despair, shame, anger. But then he remembers Epictetus. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. He reframes the loss. It is not the end, but a chance to begin again.
In that moment, he is freer than the richest man alive.
Or consider a woman facing illness. Her body weakens, but she recalls Marcus Aurelius, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." She focuses not on the disease, but on her courage. She cannot control the outcome, but she can control her response.
Her dignity becomes her cure.
These case studies remind us, philosophy is not about escaping reality, but confronting it with clarity. It is about transforming pain into wisdom, chaos into calm, fear into strength. The Stoics did not promise immortality. They promised resilience. They did not promise happiness. They promised freedom. They did not promise comfort. They promised meaning.
And meaning, once found, can outlast empires.
Last Tuesday, 28-year-old Lila stared at the rejection email from her dream MFA program, the rent increase notice fluttering next to it, and her mom's shaky voice on the line telling her dad's cancer had come back. For 10 minutes, she sat on her kitchen floor sobbing, convinced her entire life was falling apart before she could even get started. Most people would tell her to stay positive, to push through the pain, to pretend everything is fine even when it isn't. But Lila didn't do that. She pulled out the dog-eared copy of Meditations she'd found at a thrift store 6 months prior, flipped to the passage she'd underlined a dozen times, and read it out loud through her tears.
"You have power over your mind," Marcus Aurelius wrote, "not outside events.
Realize this, and you will find strength." She didn't magically fix her dad's cancer, or get into the MFA program, or make her rent disappear overnight. But she stopped wasting energy fighting reality, and started asking herself, what can I control right now? That is the core of Stoic philosophy, stripped of the toxic, grind-set, garbage modern influencers have latched onto to sell you overpriced productivity courses. It is not about suppressing your emotions, or pretending you don't feel pain, or acting like a robot who never cries. It is about learning to separate what is yours to carry, and what is not. Last month, I watched a high school senior in Ohio break down after his girlfriend dumped him 2 weeks before prom. He told me he felt like his whole future was ruined, that he'd never be happy again, that he was worthless because she didn't want him. I didn't tell him to get over it. I didn't tell him his feelings weren't real. I told him the pain he was feeling was real, but the story he was telling himself about that pain, that it would last forever, that it defined his worth, was not.
He looked at me, wiped his eyes, and said he'd never thought about it that way before.
3 weeks later, he sent me a photo of him and his friends at prom, grinning so wide his dimples showed, holding a sign that said, "Stoics don't mope, they dance." That's the thing about Stoic philosophy people miss. It isn't a set of rules to follow, or a test you pass to prove you're tough. It is a practice. A daily, messy, human practice of showing up for yourself even when the world feels like it's against you. You will fail at it. You will get angry when someone cuts you off in traffic, you will cry when you lose someone you love, you will feel like giving up when your dreams feel out of reach. That's okay. The goal isn't to never feel those things. The goal is to not let those things run your life. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up and scroll through your phone and see another disaster, another tragedy, another reason to feel like the world is ending, take a breath. Ask yourself, what can I control right now? Is it the news headline? No. Is it the rude comment someone left on your post? No. Is it how you treat the person next to you? How you show up for the work in front of you? How you care for the people you love? Yes. That's all you ever have to control.
The rest is just noise.
We are all just walking each other home, through the chaos, through the grief, through the small, beautiful moments that make all the mess worth it. Stoicism isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about remembering that even when everything feels out of your hands, you still have the one thing no one can ever take from you, your choice of how to respond. If you're struggling right now, if you feel like you're drowning, if you don't know where to turn, start small. Make your bed. Text a friend you haven't talked to in months. Drink a glass of water. Step outside for 5 minutes. Those small acts of agency are the foundation of Stoic practice, the building blocks of a life that feels like yours, no matter what the world throws at you. Don't wait for the big wins to feel okay. Don't wait for the pain to go away to start living. Start now, with the tiny, unglamorous choices that add up to a life of purpose and peace. If this resonated with you, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more deep dives into philosophy that actually helps you live better, not just sound smarter at parties. We'll see you in the next one.